Hello, good morning from Plaza Catalunya at the very center of Barcelona. So we're gonna do a bike tour today. My name is Xavier Fernandez. I'm a local guide and also a local. So I will show you what is the best in town from my bike, because Barcelona, you can visit Barcelona by bike very easily. So now we go down from Plaza Catalunya, the core of the city, and we go to the core of the old town, that is Plaza del Rey. Be careful here, because sometimes they are like skaters and people around, so you have to be very careful. You are allowed to go by bike everywhere in Barcelona mostly. There are a lot of bike lanes, but when you are in a sidewalk that is 5 meters, you are allowed, or more, like that. But when you are in a sidewalk that is less than 5 meters, you have to go back to walk your bike and walk. So thank God, in our case, you don't have to do that. You can walk. You can see people are very angry all the time. So actually, it's very characteristical of Catalans. Besides, I'm Catalan. It's one of the things I don't like from Catalans. Okay, just go, and we wait because it's turning green. So we are on las Ramblas now, so we can walk the bike a little bit. Las Ramblas normally you cannot normally go by bike, only from one side. That's quite quiet. I could go, but actually I'm trying to go to the other side of this road to see some of the oldest remains we have in Barcelona, because Barcelona was created by Romans 2,000 years ago. So we're gonna see these amazing remains that are on the other side. Yeah. And as an archaeologist, or used to be an archaeologist, I'm in love with all remains, especially Greek and Roman. But also I really like FC Barcelona. Besides, these last years have not been very good. Yeah. So that you can see a very famous place where you must go if you want to celebrate any victory of Barca. That is the Fountain of Canaletas. Yeah, there you have even an inscription that is talking about that. Yeah. And right in front there was like a, not now, but used to be a newspaper office, the office of the newspaper, that actually they were putting on the top of the walls, like on the walls, and on the walls, like things about the results of FC Barcelona. That was once upon a time, 1920s or 1910s, when actually there was no internet. So the information was not instant information. So they need to send maybe some telegrams with information about the results of the games, and then they will just bring it up there for updating the information. So these were the famous Ramblas. La Rambla has an Arabic name that means sand. So there was a sandy area because there was the limit between the city that was on the left and the outskirts that was just on the right. So there's a police crossing. You have to be a good boy and to be walking here with the bike next to you. Ramblas is a place for pedestrians. It's the kingdom of pedestrians. And actually, as you can see now, there are not that many people, so it's a perfect time for coming. And locals who are enjoying again La Rambla, because it was very, very touristy a bit too much, honestly. Now everything is getting better, and little by little, you'll be allowed to come and to enjoy this amazing city with maybe a little less people around, which is good. We want travelers that will come to Barcelona for enjoying the essence of this place. And now we are in this special street that is, we're getting to the Gothic quarter, which is the most famous quarter of the 5 quarters we have in the in Ciutat Vella, in the old town of Barcelona. So here is the core of the city, the Roman city is here. And this street Canuda. In Canuda Street we have l'Ateneu Barcelonès, which is an institution. It used to be an institution, especially at the end of the 19th century and beginning of the 20th. Many great writers used to come here. You can see l'Ateneu Barcelonès, and this is the main entrance where there is a fantastic sculpture inside. It's closed now, but there is a sculpture inside representing Athenia, so Athena, the goddess, the Greek goddess of wisdom. And there's, now we are in La Villa, Plaza de la Villa de Madrid. So it's like a square devoted to Madrid. That means, that shows that we are not that bad with Madrid, okay? Especially with the population of Madrid. With the politicians is another thing. Okay, so now we just go a bit further and you will see the fantastic remains that we have in this special square where my grandfather used to bring me when I was a kid. I was already curious and crazy about all remains. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, this amazing Roman cemetery that was right outside of the city. So the Romans were very clever guys, and instead of like burying people in the city, they were just bringing them outside because they understood it was not very hygienical to have people in the city. Later on, the Middle Ages, things turned different, and they were burying it in the courtyards of the church. So quite crazy. Well, in this beautiful square, also we have some restaurants, an Indian restaurant, the window, or we have a nice shop where you can buy like fabrics and things like that, and an old shop called Felix, Casa Felix. So you can see that it's closed, but it's open. So now it's closed because of the time, but later on it will be open. And there's a lady waiting there for buying something to sew at home. So here still there is tradition of doing some sewing at home. So me, no. I'm really bad on that. So I'm art historian, but I'm not such an artist. Only with watercolors. Well, there, so you can see the street of the Duke. So here we have kings, dukes. It's a little bit like Game of Thrones, so our history, you know. And we have all these kind of important people, these VIPs of Middle Ages. Dukes, marquesses, kings, things like that. And now we are going down to it's bringing us to one of the two or maybe the main streets for shopping here in the old town, which is Porta Ferrissa. Porta Ferrissa has this name because initially there was a golden gate. Remember that I said that on Las Ramblas there were the city walls. There was like the limits of the city in Middle Ages. We're talking about from the period that goes from the 13th century to the 15th century, especially this period. And also before, the city walls were smaller. Actually, we kept the same city walls in the city for about 1,000 years, so a little bit more, from the foundation of Barcelona by the Romans. There was at the first century BC up to the 12th, 13th centuries. So we kept the same city walls that were a little bit before La Ramblas. Ramblas was a river, as I said, was a sandy area. That was a river that was running only in fall, when actually we have most of the rain here. So it doesn't rain a lot, but when it rains, my God, that's pretty a lot. And then this on the left is the other main street for shopping. Right there on my left. Opa, that's it. And this street is called Portal de l'Angel. There was a gate also, by porta, that means gate. And there are a lot of shops. But this gate was very interesting because apparently an angel appeared to a saint called Saint Vicente. So talking about saints, we have this amazing shop here called La Stamperia de San Jose, where you can buy a lot of stuff about saints and medals, and so it's amazing. It's very good. My favorite place for buying this stuff, especially to grandmas. That's Café Mutis. It's a very short street. It's connecting Porta Ferrisa to the place where we go now. Actually, that's really interesting, because here in Barcelona, the streets, they change their names quite often. So you're taking one street and then a few meters after has another name. It's quite confusing, guys. But that's why we have guides. There you have this amazing mural made by Wash, a Norwegian artist, for the Union of Architects of Barcelona. That's an amazing place also for buying stuff, books about Barcelona, and some gifts also down there. This was made by Nash, but based on the fantastic drawings of Picasso, an artist that used to live here in Barcelona during his adolescence. Yeah. So then on the other side, you can see the Cathedral of Barcelona. That's one. It's a starting point of many tours. Yeah, but we started Plaza Catalunya because they're normally the tours they stop for with the buses and so on. And that's what we can do basically here, is to walk. Yes, guys, Barcelona is very walkable and it's more than recommended to walk around. Okay, we have these little cars that actually are electric cars, and that's for cleaning the city of Barcelona, the most clean city. Hey, thank you. The most clean city in Europe. So at least it's the city where we spend the most in cleaning. So there you can see these nice words there that are representing the name of Barquino. That is the name of Barcelona in Roman times. We have a fake aqueduct here that actually was the aqueduct that they say in 1957 they rebuilt somehow for making it more Roman. That's how it is. The Old Town of Barcelona has many things that are old, really old, like these city walls, these Roman city walls, but there are some others that are not really old. So now we're gonna play what is old or what is fake. Fake old. This is like these are the towers of the Roman city walls that have been used for ages and ages, and now they are at the back of a fantastic palace. And now we're gonna see it's El Palau, or La Casa de l'Ardiaga. So on this square, we call it a square, Cathedral Square, but actually it's not a square, it's an avenue. Until the Civil War, there were houses here and they were demolished right after the war. Actually, they were bombed. This area was bombed after during the Civil War, unfortunately. And well, later on, I'm going to explain you something about that. It's very sad. Civil wars are sad, but civil wars are even more sad, you know, because brothers are killing brothers. So now we go up to see a little bit this amazing building, temple, that is the Cathedral of Barcelona. This is not the Sagrada Familia. Many people are asking, is it the Sagrada Familia? Nope. So this is the cathedral. Actually, we can see that was the inspiration of Gaudi for building his church, the temple of La Sagrada Familia. He used to come here every day for following the services. Yeah, so, and this facade was built so at the end of the 19th century. Besides, it looks like Gothic, so it's neo-Gothic, and it was made. That was actually designed by an architect called Mestres, Josep Oriol i Mestres. What else? So, after the cathedral, I really recommend you to go inside of the cathedral, but we are not allowed to film it now. As you can see, there was like a service there, like a guardian, like taking care of the entrance, a guard there. So I really recommend you to go inside, but I'm not allowed now to go inside. So maybe in the future we will be allowed to go inside. Yeah, so I will do another video for it. So there you can see this amazing place where you can see this. I think it's the most beautiful mailbox in the entire city. Even we can say the entire country. I don't know any other mailbox beautiful like that. That was designed by the best competitor of Gaudí, that was Lluís Domènech i Muntaner. Lluís Domènech i Muntaner was the one that somehow restored this building, this place called La Casa Lardiaca, and he made this mailbox for the Union of Lawyers. So they can see on one side the shield of the lawyers with the symbol of Barcelona, the cross of St. George, and two of the four bars of the Catalan flag, Catalan flag, yeah. And then you can see also three fantastic swallows that are symbol of speed. Now we have a lot, actually. You can hear some of them. These are like the cousins of them. And then right down there you can see a turtle. That was a joke of Mr. Lluís Domènech i Muntaner to the Lawyers Association. Actually, that was like saying, hey guys, justice must be fast as swallows, but actually it's slow as a turtle, which travels, that is the ivy. They are like 5 swallows. I said 3, but there are 2 that are turned. So actually there are 5 plus the turtle, and everyone is touching the turtle because one of the guides in Barcelona once said that was very lucky. You could have good luck if you touched the poor turtle. So now the poor turtle is almost gone. Okay, so that's a fantastic garden of this building that nowadays is what we say the archive, the historical archive of Barcelona. So it's one of the few buildings that are Renaissance style. So we have kind of fusion between Renaissance and Gothic. Most of this area of Barcelona has Gothic palaces, and actually that's because that's why we call this area the Gothic Quarter. But in the Gothic period was very Barcelona was blossoming, and that's why we have a lot of these buildings that are like Gothic. In this case, this building is not Gothic, but Romanesque, which are the 2 main styles in Catalonia. Why we don't have Renaissance buildings, or not that much? So that's because here Gothic was big, and also because at the period when Gothic started to spread, Renaissance style started to spread around Europe, Barcelona was studying a crisis that lasted quite a lot. So mainly about 3 centuries. Yeah, and there you can see, so you can see the palace on the right. That was like the palace of the bishops. That's right on my right. This building that is going on my right. On the left, that's the cloister of the cathedral, and right in front of me, there's the most famous bridge in Barcelona that later on we're gonna see. But we keep a suspense before to get there. Now we turn to the other side. we go to the mosque, another mosque, uh, another mast and another mosque. So that's the most beautiful, I think, square in the old town of Barcelona. Yeah, we can say the most beautiful in Barcelona. Besides, there's another one that's very beautiful that is called Plaza España. It's much bigger, huh? So this is like cute. The other one is incredibly beautiful. And now, especially this time of the year, this square is amazing because the trees are blossoming. And also there is actually a school. So now that's when the puppies and the mummies bring their children. Of course, by bike. And there you go. You can see this beautiful square. Now, these trees that are iguanas, they were like brought to Barcelona at the beginning of the 20th century. So by Forestier and other fantastic botanists. So they are blossoming. Yeah. You can see this fantastic carpet. Actually, that's June. We're in June now, so all the floor was full of blossoms. You can see these fantastic flowers. This square has also some remains of the past. So this square actually was somehow urbanized initially. So at the 18th century, when here there were like also the Jesuits, and later on in this facade, you can see there was a damage caused by a bomb that fell here also during the Civil War in 1938. You can see this. So this one is telling us what happened here. Unfortunately, this bomb killed 42 people, most of them children. But as I like to say, life won death. Yeah. And that's why now here we have a fantastic school after 1947. And also we rebuilt the square with transferring buildings from the other side of Barcelona, like this one. That was coming from Born, the area of Born. And that was the building for the old guild of the shoemakers. Yeah? We go through the street of San Felipe Neri. We are not the original name in the street, as you can see. So we have the square of San Felipe Neri, the street of San Felipe Neri, and most of the names of the streets are referred to saints or the work that used to be people. Actually, this fantastic hotel is the Neri Hotel, where also they film in and out, especially out the fantastic movie Vicky Cristina in Barcelona. Wow. Fantastic because of Woody Allen, and also there were very nice things, but the Catalans, we don't really like this movie actually. Yeah. So there you can see Santa Eulalia, that was like killed by the Romans. So Santa Eulalia is our patron saint. Actually, one of the three ladies are patron saints of Barcelona. And now we are in the Jewish quarter. That is an amazing place. And there you can see these narrow streets. So you feel the quiet, how quiet it is. It's very labyrinthical. It's a kind of maze. And also there are like quite a lot of restaurants, bars, but also very quiet because most of the locals, they know them. People is afraid to get lost around these streets. Yeah. So a little bit farther from here, there is a place called some Plaza Plaza Alpi, Pine Tree Square, where there is the Church of Santa Maria d'Alpi. That's very nice also, but today we're gonna focus more in the core of the Gothic quarter. Later on we're gonna do some other things, starting from La Plaza d'Alpi, and then we can go to Raval. And there you can see that now we are in the Jewish quarter. Now there is not Jewish community living here, so but that was the medieval Jewish community that actually apparently came to the city at the 3rd century, maybe before, but the first documents we have are from the 3rd century, and then they, after being established, they lived here until 1492, when the Jewish community was expelled. If not, they were converted. Most of them, many of them, they were converted to Catholicism, and then the Inquisition, the Spanish Inquisition, was chasing those converted Jews that were not really converted. So, well, that was a very, very difficult time, very sad, because actually part of the wealth of Catalonia and Spain at that time was coming thanks to the Jewish community. And this is what they say that is the oldest synagogue in Europe. And that was the synagogue of Barcelona. I don't really think that. Archaeologists and so on, they say that this was created, this fantastic synagogue was a little bit farther, where you can see these people in the street. So that now changed the name, now it's Salomon Benadret. And this building, as you can see here, is one of the oldest civil buildings in Barcelona. Some people they say the oldest. That is from the 12th century for sure. So at the beginning of the 15th century, we had an earthquake, and actually this building was almost collapsing, but no. So that's why actually it has this kind of bend. And now we are by the street. In this street we have a fantastic place, a cafeteria, that is basically for locals, guys. We want to keep the secret. And then here you can see one side of the Catalan government palace, that is a Palau de la Generalitat. Yeah, so that's one of the entrances. You can get inside a few times a year, normally 1 or 2. And one of these days is St. George Day, that is the day for we're celebrating the day of our patron saint, St. George. Now we're gonna explain you the story of this guy. Yeah. And now we're heading to the central square of the old town and also central square of the Gothic quarter. So that is Plaza de Sant Jaume. Plaza de Sant Jaume. So there you can see the square with the sun. So here we have, most of the days are very sunny. So we have about 300 days a year that are sunny. So it's incredible good. But not always you have the good mood for having a good day in a sunny day. Even it sounds weird, but we are quite spoiled here. So there you can see, that's the facade of the town hall of Barcelona, City Hall. Yes. That is neoclassical. It was built at the beginning of the 19th century. And right there on the other side we have the palace of our government, the Catalan government, and that was built much earlier. So it was built around the 17th century in a Renaissance style. So I'd like to say there's a kind of bad copy of Palazzo Farnese in Rome. That's La Plaza San Jaume, St. James Square. St. James is the patron saint of Spain. He's right on the other side. Yeah, so but there you can see St. George up here. So, or you can say freedom of opinion and expression. That's because the political issues we had in these last years. Oh well, everything now is like kind of stopped. There you can see, so St. George killing a dragon. So St. George, apparently, who was a knight that for liberating a princess, he killed a dragon. So he made like, he was kidnapping the princess. And apparently the story says, the legend says, that from the blood of the dragon appeared 1,000 roses. They were a symbol of love between him, between St. George, and the princess that he liberated. That's why for us, the day of St. George is the day of love. Amazing, huh? That's amazing. Well, there you can see. And now we go to the other side. We're gonna see another guy on a horse. Oh, that's the sun, a fantastic sunny day with the blue sky. And then we go to see another guy on a horse. This St. James, that gives the name to this church that used to be here, and also to this square. Okay, so there you can see up there, in this building built in 1900s. This for a saving bank, Acacia. So they can see this fantastic representation of a St. James on a horse. So St. James, patron saint of Spain. So apparently the legend says that we found his remains here in Galicia. That's why in Middle Ages and still now, so there were people crossing Spain who were going to see his tomb. Well, that's a legend, basically. Many people they believe on that. I really appreciate it. I did this way. It's amazing, culturally, spiritually, in many ways. So I really recommend you to do St. James Way once in your time life. It's really amazing, and also food all around Spain, especially in this area, that where is, the Camino is amazing. There were several ways. One of them was passing by Catalonia, by Barcelona, and by Montserrat. So it's fantastic. The legend says also that St. James was in this very same square when this square was the main square of the Roman city of Barcelona, and then he was preaching here. So that's why we built here a church devoted to him, and that's why later on we made this fantastic sculpture. Actually, in where we are, so there was this church that we demolished in order to remake this square. So during many centuries, there was not this big square. The big square was in Roman times and now. During the Middle Ages, it was a little square, and the church, some buildings, and especially also there was like a kind of very special cemetery. So at the courtyard. So a graveyard basically. Like Barcelona is the paradise of skaters, so that's why you can see skaters around. Most of them are in the area of El Raval, that later on I'm going to show you. But now we are in the Gothic quarter. So now we are in Bishop Street, sorry. There is no Bishop Square in Barcelona. and the Bishop Street, we have this amazing side of the palace of the Generalitat, that is Gothic. So the facade was French style, the main facade, but this lateral facade was the main facade once upon a time. So it's Gothic, it's a fantastic. So, and then there you can see this bridge, that is the most famous bridge of Barcelona. It looks pretty similar to this side of La Generalitat, but actually, I'm sorry guys to tell you that it's not Gothic, it's near Gothic. It was built by one of the disciples of Gaudí. His name was Joan Rubió y Vallvé. And now we get to the other side. We're almost done, guys. We're arriving to the other side of the cathedral, where there is got the entrance, the entrance to the cloister, and there you can see the amazing bell towers. Beautiful, huh? So 2 bell towers, 53 meters each, but they are not the highest ones. Besides, this is the cathedral. The highest bell tower is in Santa Maria del Pi, so that's one of the reasons you have to visit Santa Maria del Pi. Actually, you can climb the tower. The bell tower is very beautiful. There you can see La Pietà, gives the name to this street, La Pietà. It was created by a German artist, Lechner. Yeah? My Japanese is really bad, I have to say. Almost not existent, but well, I try to pronounce it. And there you can see these beautiful streets. And near here, there is the remains of the Roman Temple of Barcelona. You can get there for free. Yeah, it's related to the Museum of History. It's a museum. I'm gonna show you it, but I don't promise you that it's open. Or maybe it's open today. So last week it was closed. There's a lady coming out. I was cleaning it. Like you can see the Catalan flag, it's closed. The door was closed now. So these are the remains of the temple that I want to show you later on when they will be open. Okay. She was like slamming the door. She was not very happy to see me around. Okay. Still people are freaking out here when they see you with a camera like filming. Well, nobody says anything, but they just, they look at you. And then there on the left is this amazing palace.